21st century man from his perspective.
This is a show, this is a moment, and we are glad to have you join us on the 21st century man from his perspective, and we have had a wonderful time. Today, another day, we are talking about the man and his choices. What are the choices you've made as a man? Choices have consequences, or so they say. Let's hear what we can say about this, and what is the perspective of the 21st century man concerning decision making and choices.
Are you that man? 21st century man from his perspective.
Today on this show, we have my friends who have made choices in life. One of the choices they made was to come to the show. And I hope you've made the right choice to appear here today. I am your host, Chief Andrew. With me is my friend, Pastor Solomon Ogutu, and my brother, the one who makes good choices, Dr. Jared Okelo. We will be with you today as we unpackage the choices that men make. But before we get to that, we would like to hear, as is the norm, what is the word from the streets concerning the choices that men make. Let's join the streets.
Majorly, listen to your wife. Yeah, listen to your wife means even if she raises an issue, it's not a complaint. Don't term it as petty. Whatever you classify as petty, for us, it's a big mountain and it means a lot to us. So listen to that petty complaint, put yourself in our tiny shoes, and try to make adjustments to make things right.
There are some choices that we make as a family, which at some point I live to regret. As a man of my family, there are some that I actually have. Initially, I shared them with my wife, but as time goes by, when I try to do them without consulting, I came to regret over the same.
21st century man from his perspective.
We've been to the streets, and now we are back. And when we come back, we get quick on the point. Choices have consequences. You have to make a choice. A man cannot waver between two opinions. In fact, if we read the text, and I like the way Elijah would talk about this, when Elijah comes to the children of Israel, and he says, how long will you halt between two opinions? Make a decision. And at every point in time, it seems that a man is being called, make a decision. Everyone is screaming to the man, make a decision. What choices do men have to make in this 21st century?
Before we reach there, let me make a statement.
Before?
I just want to make a statement. That man has a choice, and it's a choice that makes him to be a man.
Wow.
So you don't, so it is not by default that you are a man. You choose to be a man.
You choose to be a man. And by the way, you realize...
He likes quoting me a lot without stating.
Oh, without stating.
Because he had me one time say that to be male is biological. To be a man. To be a man is not biological.
So he should have done quote, quote,
quote unquote.
Chief Andrew himself.
It is a choice. You choose to be a man.
Yes.
And you stick by that.
So we have a lot of choices, an array of choices. You said we chose to be here today.
Yes.
You even chose, I remember in another show, you were talking about the way you used to dress. So you see, someone has chosen even the way you dress, you have chosen to dress like that. You choose a career.
Yes.
You even choose families. That's why we, in another previous instance in the episode, we were talking about rejection. And we were saying, yes, people choose us. We also choose other people. So we choose a lot of other things in life.
Yes.
And so we have an array as a 21st century man. you choose where you want to be. You choose where you want to work. You choose your career. You even choose your friends.
And you choose how far you want to go.
You might even choose how far you want to go. And then some people set that and they choose that as a target. They want to say, this is the farthest I want to go. I know this guy normally chooses after me, so he sees whatever I've chosen. Then that's the one he wants to choose. He says, I want to choose like this guy. Yeah, so we have those choices to make. But as you've also mentioned, every choice has a consequence. I think that's why we are saying choose. The 21st century man is faced with an array of things to choose from. Right at the place of work, you can choose to be the path of integrity.
Yes.
The path of choosing the fair things and providing justice to people. I meet this friend of mine, a judge in one of the high courts around, and he tells me, I have chosen the path to provide justice.
Yes.
I don't wait for people to set for me targets on how many cases I need to handle a day. I handle as much as I can take, as God gives me wisdom. So he has chosen his path, and he beats his targets more and more, year and year in out, but with an intention of providing justice.
Wow, you're making choices to look like it determines where you're going. It determines who you are. Choices are basically going to be the ingredients that are going to make the final man.
That is what I wanted to say. I'm not good at maths. That I can confess even before the screen. I'm not good at maths.
But he knows I am good at maths. That one I know.
He's sandwiched between mathematicians. So he's safe.
So you do your calculation, then you have the sum, the total. So the total is out of what you have been calculating, getting here and there. So the choices that we make, that is a sum total of who we are.
Wow.
Every single choice you make, there's something it adds this other side. Every single choice you subtract, there's a consequence again which it brings forth. Like the way, I love the way Jared talks.
Yes.
Although at times he becomes too philosophical. But we'll assist him in this show today for us to simplify these things for the 21st century man.
Yes.
There are very simple things along the way. But we might look at them as simple. But they count a lot to the person who is seated next to us or the next step we are going to make.
Wow. A journey of 1,000 miles.
Just one step.
Begins with a step.
But I think it does not begin with a step. It begins with the direction of that step. That means you have to choose. So that journey of 1,000 miles does not begin with a step.
That is what I was telling you.
No, that is not being philosophical.
No.
That's not being philosophical. Assuming you want to go to Mombasa,
yes,
then that journey begins with one single step.
You choose a
Imagine
direction.
if you choose to one single step towards Migori, will you ever reach Mombasa?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, that journey of a single step, that begins with one step.
You will reach, but you will take more time.
So you see? But then that means a choice has a consequence. That's what we are saying. But I really doubt if you will reach.
No, you will reach because
I'll go buy a kisi.
You see, even if you go west, you will be able to arrive this side. But, like you say, choices have consequences.
Yes.
You may have taken a shorter time. There are people who have made decisions, and these decisions have made it difficult for them to reach where they wanted to reach.
Yes.
Because they went in the wrong direction. Choices. You see, when you read in the book of Joel, chapter 3, reading from verses 14, it says multitudes in the valley of decision. Multitudes in the valley of decision. And I think this is where we find ourselves. Multitudes in the valley of decision. The 21st century man finds himself in the valley of decision. How? There is food set before you. You must make a choice what you're going to feed on. You feed on the wrong thing, you're going to have health problems. Multitudes in the valley of decision. If you're looking at your emotions, we have to see, what am I going to do about this? If you're looking even at career, you know, when I was younger, everyone would sit back and say, so who is earning a lot of money? A doctor. I want to be a doctor. You don't even have the compassion for sick people. How are you going to be a doctor?
It's about money.
It's about money. So you're going to be an extortionist. You're going to kill people because to you, if there is no money, I am not treating you. And that is why you see there are professions to which we call, they're more like a calling. You don't just go to become a nurse. By the time you're deciding that you're going into this profession, I like telling people, my dad would tell me that he wanted me to be a doctor for a very long time. And my dad even almost convinced me to be a doctor. When I was studying in high school, in primary, I was going to be a doctor. And by the time, let's fast forward things, because this is not the man and his studies. This is the man and his choices. I got to a point in time, I was supposed to make a decision of which career path I'm going to take in campus. You know what? I went into engineering. Why did I pick engineering? I picked engineering and I told myself, you know what? I look at myself. I may not want to spend time with somebody who is half-burned, with blood oozing all over. You see, in engineering, I'm an electrical engineer by profession. I find myself dealing with inanimate things. If there is no power, I can say, but nobody's dead. Let me deal with it and sort it out. But when you look at the other side, when I am dealing with medicine, if there is no oxygen, this person is dying.
Yes.
You can't continue waiting that you're tired. And so these are choices we make. So even when you're going to make a decision of which path I am going to go, why are you taking this job instead of the other one?
Probably just to throw in a question, I'm surprised with the choices that you made after your parents wanted you to be a doctor. So you chose to deal with the inanimate things and left the real things, human beings themselves.
He defied their parents.
You defied. And I thought that was where the calling was, to deal with people.
And
not to deal with inanimate things that have no feelings. Like power, for example. I can't even touch power. Me, I want to deal with things. I want to deal with people. So that's a choice I also made.
And that's why, because I made this choice, doesn't mean I'm not intelligent. Because you made that choice, doesn't mean you're more intelligent than I. You see, right now, if there is no power...
You're battling between your choices. Let me bring you home.
No, he's bringing something. Probably he's reconciling my choice and his choice.
He cannot reconcile when he defied the parents.
Okay.
No, I'm explaining something. It's not defying the parents. you see, when you have a choice, that was my parents' choice. And even when I was making this choice, it's an amendment of that choice, but we consulted, we talked. I explained, this is what I feel. And the 21st century man must be able to communicate his choices. He must be able to communicate because his choices affects other people. When you're going to decide that, okay, I just want to buy a vehicle.
That is.
But have you consulted with the others?
That is what I wanted you to make very clear. And you've made it very clear that my choice must have a relation with humanity. My choice is going to affect humanity in one way or the other. So that I don't just choose things on my selfish gain. You know, like, as you mentioned it, as a small boy, you are looking for which profession makes the highest amount of money. For me, I thought a hotelier. I was exposed to hotel managers, and I thought that is where the gist of the money is. In fact, in one of my, immediately after finishing high school, I went to do an interview at Hoteli school. Because I wanted to be a hotelier, I wanted to be a hotel manager. That's where the money was. But what we are telling ourselves in this 21st century, how are my choices making humanity to live better than they are? When it comes to your power thing, how are you making the use of electricity make humanity be better?
Imagine I was a doctor and this show is live right now and power just goes off.
Yes.
Be grateful, I'm an engineer. Let me hear you.
Initially, let me say initially, I was a teacher initially. But along the way, I got converted.
I thought you still teach.
Relax, soul of Tarsus. Though I teach the Bible.
Yes,
the issues
you're a
of God.
teacher. You're a teacher. No, this guy does not know
Teachers,
this thing.
relax.
That's how the people who does not know how maths works. He makes equations out of things which are not meant to be. Okay, sorry. You can continue. Okay.
Allow me to talk.
Okay, you
speak.
Have you seen teachers go on strike?
Yes.
Doctors go on strike. Lecturers go on strike. Have you ever seen pastors going on strike?
I saw that coming.
We don't go on strike.
Choices.
Choices. Because we know him who called us.
You feared strikes, so you chose.
It's not about fearing strike, but it's about knowing the passion which you have. Where do you lay that passion? Who has called you, and whom do you want to work to or work for?
Yes.
And that is why he has brought in the idea of humanity.
Yes.
The baseline in all these things which we are doing, it is a service to God and to humanity.
Yes.
If we cannot have God and humanity in each and every choice we do, we are going to kill ourselves. For example, a lady walks along the streets half naked. It is a choice which affects God the Creator. It is a choice which affects humanity. Because there's a man there who is going to look at her lustfully and maybe end up doing something which is contrary to the will of heaven. So when Dr. Jared brings in the idea of affecting humanity and God, it is very true.
I like that perspective. And you see, that is why I say, when we look at our choices holistically, I don't look at myself as being irrelevant when I'm making choices. And that's why we don't all run to that level. You see, if somebody was to ask you, are photographers important? Do we need videographers? And you know, when you look at your choice, you feel like, but they're not dealing with humanity. And then you remember that when you want to reach the multitude, you will need these people to produce something. When you sit down and you ask, a teacher is better than a doctor. You remember those days?
Yeah,
when you sit down.
Yeah.
And there's opposers and proposers, and you're arguing a teacher is better than a doctor. But you see, as you mature up, as you grow up, you start realizing they're all good.
You know, there's a time I argued that money is not anything good, eh? And
okay.
nowadays I'm realizing.
Now you're you won the argument.
I want the
but right
argument,
now.
but now I think money is really hungry with me because I want it.
Let's take time out. Let's take time out as we think about that.
21st century man from his perspective.
For God so loved the world.
That will not let me go.
Behold what manner of love.
Yes.
Come see what manner. I can't tell you. You have to see it for yourselves.
That he gave his only begotten Son.
I think it's important for us to forgive even if they do not confess. But for me as a Christian, I need to confess.
That whosoever believes in him.
I have believed.
God's intention for us is higher, way beyond what we can ever imagine.
Should not perish.
Follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. If he says stop lying, stop lying. If he said keep my commandments, we keep them.
But have everlasting life.
On Christ the solid rock I stand.
We've been studying God's word and looking at steps that we ought to follow in order to get to know him more.
Let all things now living sing a song of thanksgiving. Let all things that have breath praise the Lord, for his worthy. Come everyone and join in breath of praise.
This brand new season is coming soon on Hope Channel Kenya.
21st century man from his perspective.
Welcome back. We are glad to be back to the show, the 21st century man from his perspective. And before we took the break, we were just talking about a man and his choices. And I'm glad you've made the choice to join us today. A wonderful choice as we talk about this. Before we went for the break, my brother was just saying the way you won an argument that money is not good.
And now he has a problem with money.
And now he's not accessing money. But then, and you see, the choices we make, and these choices we end up realizing that the choices we make were not right. How do you deal with a situation whereby you've found yourself making a choice and you are really excited about the choice you made, and later on you realize you've gone in the wrong direction? And you know, when you're talking of the 21st century man, we even have a group that is going to say, my dress, my choice. My decisions, my choice. And everything, my this, my choice, my this, my choice. And what does it mean? There is a text that I don't want us to overrun. And I like it when God addresses some of these things directly from the pages of the Holy Writ. Listen to what it says in Luke chapter 14, reading from verses 26. No, let me not start 26. It says verse 28. For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Lest haply after he has laid the foundation, it is not able to finish it, and behold, they begin to mock him. Choices. And it says, and they will say, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king is going to make war against another king, sitteth not down first, and consulteth whether he be able to do it with 10,000 to meet the one that is coming against him with 20,000? Or else, while he is yet a great way off, he sends an ambassage and desires conditions of peace. Choices have consequences. Are there choices we make and we regret? There is such a thing as count the cost. Before you make a choice, count the cost. Which direction am I going with the decision I am making? Daktari.
I think this is a little bit painful for me to make mention about these choices that have consequences and counting the cost, as you've just read in Luke 14. I am in Form 3. I make a choice because of the underlying factors out there, and I get married. While in Form 3.
In Form 3?
That is when I got married at first.
Choice. Okay.
So I have to battle with this choice, being a student at Form 3, having a child almost while in Form 3, my first kid, and they continue coming along the line, battling with the education thereafter, the pressures of life outside there. And someone asks me, did I have an opportunity to sit down and count the cost? Then at times I say it's easier said than it is done. And we have to battle with it. I had to go through a lot of misunderstandings with my parents, misunderstanding with the society, misunderstandings in my youthhood, with my peers as I relate to them. You are there as a small boy, but as a father and a man, wearing all the hats together at the same time. So you're dealing with a lot of other things. And funnily enough, when you're dealing with all these things, then it comes crumbling down on your head. When the 21st century man is faced with choices, and if not made right, the consequences are always very dire. And that is
you mean
painful.
Consequences are the surest. As you said, you're a mathematician. A is equal to B plus C. Therefore, it means A plus C is also equal to B.
When you're saying therefore, whatever you're trying to prove is coming from the fact of what you have already stated. Like the way we would do in maths with those 3 dots. If this is this, therefore. Definitely what is coming over here is a subset of what has already been stated. So your consequences will always follow from the choices that you make.
Brother Andrew, I love the direction Dr. is coming from. There's a viewer outside there who is having a wife, or rather having a husband. And where they've reached, they feel that is not the right choice they should have made. How do we help that person today?
Wow. How do you feel it's not the right choice you'll have made?
I'm talking on behalf of a friend who is viewing.
And you see, as we want to deliberate on that, there's also something else that I want to say. You see, when you talk of choices have consequences, we are almost like saying, go to the end. View yourself from the end, then make a decision today. In other words, don't make a decision today if you are not planning to have that end product. You remember where Paul said in Galatians 6, 7, and 8, be not deceived, God is not mocked. Whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. So the reaping testifies to the sowing. And I also have a good background of agriculture, being the son of an agriculture teacher. And I've appreciated that there are certain things that you may not know, which you may need to consult from the experts. When we are making our choices, before I get to your point, when we are making our choices, have we consulted with the experts? There are certain things, as we sit here, we are talking and we're saying there are choices you're going to make. But these choices, are they, nowadays there's a word called informed choices. So you're not just going to make a decision because others are doing it. Because you may find, and right now there's a word called peer pressure. Peer pressure, we've even modified and explained that negative peer pressure is a challenge. There's positive peer pressure. But can you be able to have this positivity? You see, when you are regretting the decision you've made and the choice that you made, the question is, what are you regretting about it? What are the things that have not gone right? There are certain issues that are of permanence, that when you are regretting them, you have to change your choice. There are certain things that you can be able to change as a person. I made a choice. Then I realized, like, you're going to Mombasa. You've made a choice to turn left at Eldoret, at Kericho, sorry. You're now going to Eldoret. Oh, then you realize, no, but I need to go back where? That is a choice. You made the wrong choice, you detoured, you can come back. But there's somewhere, when you make the wrong choice, you have to make an about turn. Are you getting where I'm coming from?
But are there those, when you make choices and you find it is wrong, you stick with them? No matter what, you have to stick with them.
You made a choice. You're overspeeding. As you're overspeeding, you get involved in a car accident. You've broken your leg. What happens?
Two things. It can either be taken back by medics, yes, or you can be amputated.
That is the same with choices. You've made a choice to go in this direction. Two things. Either it can be done away with completely, and you may end up now being that incapacitated because of the choice you made. Or you can be able, and that's why grace now comes in. You see, grace is the big umbrella that handles the choices we are making. Whether you're amputated or your leg is restored, remember, even if your leg is restored, by the choices, the consequences that come from choices have some permanence.
There's a scar.
Healed wounds, but ugly scars. So even if we are going to make that change, we are still going to have some sign over here of a consequence of that choice that we made. And that is what then brings me even to the question that when you are looking at the choices that you're making, are the choices God directed?
So that leads us into what you are trying to allow us understand, that as you make choices, you talk about positive peer pressure.
Yes.
As you consult God, are the people you're surrounding yourself with people who are godly driven?
True.
Because they will be the one that will help you. Like I was looking at my estate, getting into adulthood at such a tender age, I was surrounding myself with people who really didn't have a concept of God in their mind.
Wow.
But if I had people around me, if I had youth strong enough around me that would tell me, Jared, this decision is a wrong one, I wouldn't have gotten through the consequences that has spiraled over it across the years.
Are you saying choices are affected by the support system?
That's what I'm trying to drive at. Surround yourself with people who will challenge you to do things better. There are youths that have gotten themselves into drugs, wasted the years in life because of the people they surrounded themselves with.
Joshua talks about it in 24, 14 and 15.
As for me.
When he looks at the children of Israel and the way they are misbehaving, the way they've decided to go back to the gods their forefathers worshipped, then he tells them that choose ye.
Can I read for you?
Please.
Now therefore, fear the Lord. Joshua 24:14 going downwards. Now therefore, fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and in truth. Put away the gods that your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord. If it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
He is choosing, together with the family, to serve the Lord because the surrounding has refused to serve the Lord.
Wow.
But there's a benefit in serving the Lord. Brother Jared brings a concept which is very important. Were it that he was surrounded with godly people, were it that there are people who had matured up to understand the consequences which were therein, he could have not gotten into what was there. Joshua looks at them. He gives them to remember where they've come from, all the way from Egypt, and what has happened in the intervening period up to where they've reached. And he sees the importance of what God can do to humanity. He sees the wonder-working power of God in the lives of the Israelites. But he says these people seems to be forgetting. I must let them choose something. But for me and my house, whom we've seen the power of God, we want to choose him. Because he knows that along this way, they have to reach somewhere.
He made a choice based on an experience.
Exactly.
And you know what you're trying to bring about, I love it, because we are saying choices must be made. But there's a young person somewhere, and there's even an adult somewhere, who has decided, I'm going to gamble my money off, making a choice, and wasting themselves. There is somebody who is wasting their manhood. And you know, you are a man, but you're wasting yourself with women. You know, we are talking of somebody who is a man, and you're sitting here, and I'm wasting myself with drugs. I'm talking of somebody who is a man, and is seated, and is supposed to make a decision, and when he's making a decision, he's making a decision of laziness. That's a choice. Hard work is a choice. Laziness is a choice. And you see, here is a man who can make a decision that I am going to provide for my family, but makes a decision otherwise. And you see, when we look at this, it's the place where we said, who surrounds you? Who surrounds you heavily influences what decisions you're making, and heavily influences the choices you're going to make.
So does it mean then that we who have probably chosen things, suffered the consequences of the choices that we have made, should now create a very nice environment for other people so that they choose the best of things? Because you talked about, as he was mentioning, we're talking about Joshua, talking of an experience. So then we open up and tell our friends, hey, we have experiences. Wherever you're trying to choose, we chose those things, and look at our end.
My favorite evangelist puts it this way, that you see, when I have identified that that is a garbage pit, and there is food in the garbage pit, you don't have to go test it when I tell you that is garbage. So if in my choices I ate some garbage and I tell you it is wrong, you know, men right now are like, no, let me also experience it. No, you don't have to.
They'll tell you experience is the best teacher.
But the problem is, experience is the teacher that kills its students. There is no student of experience that comes up to say, here I am glorifying experience. Experience deals with you squarely.
No.
And I say,
repeat that line again. You said experience is the best teacher that does what?
Kills the students.
No, I wish this world would have been bolden.
And it's true.
Is the teacher that
kills the students. Let's take a break as we just ponder on that, because that's heavy. That's heavy. We'll be back soon.
21st century man from his perspective. Hadithi inasimuliwa ya mtu ambaye aliwatesa Wakristo kwa motisha ya hali ya juu na baadaye akawa Mkristo kikweli. Mungu aliongoza mtu huyu kushiriki na kuandika kile ambacho wokovu unamaanisha hasa. Mfano, jinsi ya kukabiliana na shida, maadili ya Mkristo, kanisa la kweli, msamaha, tumaini kwa ulimwengu, kati ya mafundisho mengine kemkem. Huenda ukawa na maswali kuhusu mada mbalimbali anazoeleza katika Biblia. Tazama msimu huu mpya kabisa wa Jibu kwa Mashaka na ujifunze zaidi kutoka kwa Mtume Paulo, upate ufahamu. "21st century man from his perspective."
Welcome back. This is the show. We are talking of the 21st century man. And before we went for the break, we were just talking about experience and the best teacher. We are talking about choices today. But experience is the best teacher. And while we were closing, we were saying experience kills the students. And so, how many students are going to die? You can avoid the path of death by learning from somebody's experience. In fact, one of my best writers, very prolific writer, will then say it this way, that the penitent man, once he has been forgiven his sin, does not quickly forget his past, but warns the others who may go in that path.
That is what has just happened. That is what has just happened, because Jared brought it. Like, for example, the show we are having now, it is like a learning process, where even Brother Jared, or rather Jared, has just decided to open up and tell us what really happened to him in Form 3. The men here who are listening or are viewing us, they also got married in Form 3. But maybe their lives today is in shambles. Maybe their life is good. There's one again in Form 3 now who is about to commit what Jared did. But because Jared has spoken, they can sit back and say, let me wait a bit and listen to what this person is saying. So when we come forth the way we are, we give them their experiences which we have gone through. There are things which at some point tried so much to bend the direction of our lives. We wouldn't wish that that person also the life to get that kind of an action. For us to stay
and that is why, when you go back to the Bible, you will find that the Bible does not spend time to really glorify evil. Yes. Even when the Bible explains to us the weaknesses of human beings in the Bible, the great men of faith and their weaknesses, the Bible gives us hope that what God counts for righteousness, what God counts so much, is what God did through these people.
Give them a very typical example.
A man after
Solomon,
God's own heart,
leave alone my man.
Solomon, vanity of vanities.
Solomon does everything, and those 1,000 men, 1,000 women. But now he comes back and sits down and reflects and says all.
No. You've not packaged it well. You know, Solomon did not just... Solomon's problem was not just women.
You mean this guy studies the Bible, does not package it
He's not packaged it well.
So he leaves it for engineers.
Let it leave it for engineers to engineer it. Let me tell you.
Thou shalt not touch the anointed of the Lord.
Okay, anointed.
I've chosen not to touch.
Okay, anointed. But let me tell you something. The part that he has left, because his humility allows him to leave me to finish the things.
Yeah.
The part that he has left is that Solomon didn't just talk about the women. Solomon went and said, I tried riches. I got all the riches I could get. Because there's a man who thinks I am making a choice of accumulating wealth. Solomon says, no. I tried food. I could eat anything and drink anything that I wanted. This is in the book of Ecclesiastes. Solomon counts the things he tried. And then he says he realizes all is vanity. Because he's trying to say that what I have realized is that the choice that I was making was for self-gratification. But when the consequences are coming, they prove that self-gratification is not sufficient. The songwriter says, the things of earth will dim and lose their value if we recall. They are borrowed for a while.
Yes.
The things of earth that cause the world to tremble, remember, there will only bring us smile. But you know what? These things, so many people are making choices based on the things of the world.
Yes.
And you know, at times when I sit down, I feel the decisions we make. And if you even go to what we were talking about on finances the other day, we were saying, you see, even the ability to accumulate wealth is given by God.
Yes, yes.
Money is not evil. There's nothing wrong with money. But when you start worshiping this money and spend time over there, you've made a choice to reject everything for money. There's a consequence that will follow.
So how do we guide this small young boy who wants to choose association of his fellow boys to make love with? How do we guide this young man who's just gotten out of college, who wants to choose his evil things to make money with? You know, I read this thing, someone says, oh, if you want to plant maize, you'll earn this several thousands of money. If you want to do this, you can even do cocaine and you get this several money. Then he says, the choice is yours. So
Yes.
how do we guide them?
No, you do not package it well.
Today
Today
I'm repackaging. Today you're engineering
packaging and engineering things.
Yes.
You see, they normally say that if a bag of maize will cost you 6,000 shillings.
Yes.
That is 90 kgs of maize. And 90 kgs of weed, marijuana, and all that will cost you 3 million shillings. Make a decision. And that's not something to make a decision. You see, morality cannot be relativized. You cannot say, when we are talking of morality, when we are talking of good and evil, we must not sit on the fence. We make a decision. Somebody said, when you sit on the fence in matters of morality, remember, the fence belongs to the devil.
What you are saying reminds me that when you are making a choice on morality, don't bargain. I remember this young boy.
It's heavy.
In a pigsty. His mind is set. His choice is made.
Yes.
He is going back home.
Yes.
He does not sit with the owner of the pigsty and write a resignation letter and say, man, it's time for me. I think I've served you well enough. Kindly allow me go. The Bible says he wakes up, takes his way home. He has decided. So in ways of morality, as you're putting it, point number one that we are telling people on how to make better choices, never begin with the devil.
Revelation 3:16, what does it say?
Revelation 3:16. Yes. And I like the way you've gone to the last book in the Bible for those who live in the last days. You know, it's a wonderful read, and this is one of the churches, by the way, as it talks. Revelation 3:16, to the church in Laodicea. He says in verses 15, I know your works, you're neither hot nor cold. I wish that you are either hot or cold. So then, because you're lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I will spew thee out of my mouth.
On choices, there's no standing in the middle.
Wow. No lukewarm.
No. You either be here or you are here.
And if you decide to be here, be prepared to reap what you have sown here.
And he also says, when you decide to be here, and he says, I present to you good and bad.
Yes.
Blessings and curses. And how I wish that you choose
Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy. So which means there's no standing in the middle. On some of these choices we make, you choose, either you choose the best or you choose the worst. But don't stand in between.
And in fact, pushing it back to him, because he's the one who started with the prodigal son, he has to finish it. Because he did not say that the prodigal son came to his senses.
Yes.
One of the big things with choices, especially when you've made a wrong choice, can you come back to your senses? Choices have a way of shaking us, especially bad ones. They shake us out of our senses. But when you come back to your senses, and you realize you are running in the wrong direction. Let me tell you, when you are driving and you are on the wrong road, do you increase your speed or you slow down and change your direction? You are on the wrong path. And what do we do right now? I have made a wrong choice. Okay, liwe liwalo. You can't say liwe liwalo. We must be able to make a decision if I realize I am on the wrong path. And at times you see, it may be difficult for you to realize. It may take somebody else to tell you. Be humble enough to listen and make a choice based on that. Because I look at the prodigal son. Do you know when you're saying the prodigal son went home, do you know what took him home? Prodigal son sat down. And as he sat down, the stench of pigsty was calling and saying, go home. Even when he was looking at that food was just looking at him and telling him, young man, go home. That's why he comes to his senses and he says, hey, the servants are feeding well. Choices. He now has to make a decision. But am I going to go home? And you see people fear going home when they made the wrong choice. And I want him to talk before you interrupt.
I just want to add
when you make a choice, at times there is the fear. Will I be accepted? What will the people say about me going back?
He's going to combine it with that together with this
one. I love the way he's adding things to me. Just bring it on.
The concept of the prodigal son. When you come back to your senses.
I think I should have withdrawn this prodigal son. I should have done another story. But it's okay. Just bring them on.
Just bring it. Yeah. When you come back to your senses and decide to go back home, the start after the choice is better than where you ended in the last choice.
Wow.
The start of the second choice is better than where you ended in the first choice. Wow. Because when he comes back to his senses, he goes back home. The kind of welcome he receives from the father.
Just say the food he's going to eat is better than his last meal.
You cannot.
When you are on the wrong choice, you are eating husks. When you make the right choice right now to leave the wrong choice, you are going to feed well.
He remembered home.
Yes.
That means there is someone who can help us make better choices.
Wow.
You know, we always keep on telling people, oh, choose ye forth, choose ye forth. Look at the Israelites. Moses comes down from the mountain and he brings them soil and he says, we have said we will serve the Lord.
Yes.
What happens the next moment in their breath? They are turning away from the Lord. So then that means, and is it Jeremiah who said, ask of the old ways or something? Yeah?
Yes.
And walk ye in it.
6:16.
6:16. So there is someone that we are asking who can now guide us on the right path of making choices. So choices, as we say, have consequences. And as we talk about choosing the right path, and you are making in and bring a lot of jargons here now, you are the one talking about jargons. You know, it is what did you say? It is the,
I don't know.
It is the start of this right choice is better than the results of the initial. You see, you can't even remember.
He had a big point.
He explained it very well. The last meal which he took in the bad choice was worse than the first meal he took in the second
choice. So what I'm saying to now derive ourselves across, there is a God who can help us make better choices.
Wow.
There are people around about us in the 21st century, men who can stand with their fellow men and help them make better choices. There are people who can train our young ones to choose rightfully, even on ways of investment.
No, you're not going to run by that point. That is a heavy point. Mentorship for the 21st century man is going to be done by them seeing men who have seen the man.
Yes.
The man of Tarsus.
No. The man of Calvary.
The man of Tarsus.
You know, what does the man of Tarsus say?
In Romans 7.
No, I'm also trying to push him to the man of Calvary. This lady says, come and see
a man.
A man.
Yes.
So, and this is the man that made her pick better choices.
But
leave this water that would still give her time to come back to the well.
Still on the man of Tarsus.
And pick some water that will never quench a thirst, that will ever quench a thirst.
The Benjamite.
My brother, when he insists on the Benjamite, he's not opposing you.
Okay,
he's buttressing your point.
Hear him. Add on him.
7. The book of Romans.
Romans 7, yes.
15.
Yes.
What does it say?
When you look at Romans chapter 7, verses 15, that is the part you want.
Yes.
It says, for that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that I do not. But what I hate, that I do.
There's a man who is saying that statement.
I don't know, this version makes it a little bit more clear.
I know the version which he's using is called
he loves the message
the message translation.
I know he has a message for us.
And this message says, what I don't understand about myself is that I decide one way, but then I act another, doing things absolutely despising. So if I can't be trusted to figure, in fact, this gets back to my point, by the way. He says, so if I can't be trusted to figure out what is best for myself, and then do it, it becomes obvious that God's command is necessary.
Now get that.
There's something.
There's a 21st century man who is saying that what I long to do, I don't do. How can we help him?
And that is what he has said, that, listen, connect yourself. And I'll still put it this way. The real men in the 21st century are men who have learned to make choices through their connection with the man himself. And through that, they now become mentors. And when you're talking of mentors, we are talking of men. Did you see the first 3 words of the word mentor? It's men. Mentorship is a man thing. We are setting the standards. I want you to look at that.
I didn't see that coming.
No, it's
is that the way you look at it in engineering? But what we are saying then, what we are underscoring then, left on our own,
you can't make it.
We cannot make the right choice.
Our choices are not right.
Our choices, Pastor Solomon, left on our own,
we cannot
be able to make it. You will use your money to do a lot of betting, thinking you're going to earn money. I've seen students who have taken their fee, 21st century men, trying to bet. Arsenal is playing with Manchester United. That's the day they know they'll get good money. At the end of the day, they lose it all. A student hanged
because the footballers
himself.
don't even know that
they don't even know you're betting. I have seen men taking their salaries. They've gone, picked out a loan, walked into some places where they think people pray for their money and the money doubles. I don't know how paper can double itself. I've never seen miracles of paper doubling. I've only heard of miracles of food being prayed for and it doubles.
That is called, you don't understand, be fruitful, multiply.
Be fruitful and multiply. So this guy picks up his money to this be fruitful and multiplies. He punches at it loan, 1 million shillings note, and he's expecting them to multiply. Left on our own. And I try to get back to this, that if we cannot be trusted to figure out what is best for ourselves. Verse 17 says, but I need something more.
Yes.
And it finishes up with verses 24, the verses 25. The answer, thank God, is that Jesus Christ can and does.
I take you back to the man.
Yes.
So vis-a-vis what I said about the prodigal son.
Yes.
The lady has faced what we talked about in the other episode about rejection.
Yes.
Finds herself by the well.
Yes.
Comes forth and talks about it and feels she's despised. But when she gets the chance to pick the second choice, them who despised him,
the ultimate choice,
the ultimate choice, she can now command them. Come, see. I know you never did English. I want to assist you.
No.
But
engineers are good at English.
We call subject, verb, object.
Yes.
The subject is subject, object, the SOV, the subject, object, verb.
You're the one suffering.
For the English.
He's the one suffering.
Now,
he crammed it, you know.
Okay, finish it.
I'll call the producer. Now, when you find a verb and a verb following each other, that is a command.
Yes.
Come, see.
A man.
A man. Which means the one who was once rejected, without any choice which was proper, makes a choice, and the second choice she makes can make her give a command.
My time is running down. I have to make a choice whether to end this show or continue with it. But I'm going to give you one line, one punch line. But
he wants to let me relax.
As you give your punch line, there's one thing that comes out very clearly over here. When you make a good choice, you want people to know. That's what my brother is saying.
Yes.
A good choice calls forth for a testimony. Say something.
No, I wanted to add a punchline on his statement.
Yes.
When you make a choice and a good one, you become powerful.
Wow.
You can command things.
Now we're giving punchlines. Don't give anything more than a punchline. When you make a good choice, you become powerful. Tell us.
Not a punchline.
Yes.
Take the world, but give me Jesus. All its joys are but a name. But his love abides forever, through eternal years the same. All the heights and the depths of his mercy, all the length and the breadth of life, all the fullness of redemption, pledges of endless life above. For the choices, just take the world, but give me Jesus.
As we talk to the 21st century man, what a show it has been today. Wonderful, and we've just made the choice to end it now. And real men are called to make choices. But we're not going to end without leaving you with a parting shot. And this is what I want you to leave here. Remember, you've made choices, and you are still expected to make choices. Don't grieve over the wrong choices you made when the opportunity to make a right choice lies before you. As we said, the meal at the last bad choice is not anywhere close to the meal at the next best choice. So here you have a decision to make. Make the best choice. If you are going in the wrong direction, do an about turn. I was in Pathfinder. We were taking instructions. And one of the instructions was about turn. Halt. Move forward. So here we are saying, 21st century men will make the best choices. See you again in the next episode. Feel free to share with us your feedback.